10 Biggest Economies in Africa 2021 by GDP. Africa is by far the world's poorest inhabited continent. Although parts of the continent have made significant gains over the last few years, Africa's decolonization was fraught with insecurity, which was exacerbated by the Cold War conflict. Since the mid-20th century, the Cold War and increased corruption and despotism has also contributed to Africa's poor economy. The biggest contrast in terms of development has been between Africa and the economy of Europe. The African Economic Outlook report specifically mentions that Africa's trade with China has multiplied by 10 since 2001, reaching over $100 billion in 2008. While no African nation has joined the ranks of the developed nations in the Organization of Economic Cooperation and Development, yet the entire continent is not utterly impoverished, and there is considerable variation in its wealth. North Africa has long been closely linked to the economies of Europe and the Middle East. South Africa is by far the continent's wealthiest state in total GDP, accounting for 30% of the continent's GDP in nominal terms and 24% of the PPP. The small but oil-rich states of Gabon and Equatorial Guinea round out the list of 10 wealthiest states in Africa. This entry below gives the gross domestic product, or value, of final goods and services produced within a nation in a given year. Hello, lovely people of Africa Reloaded. Welcome back to another enchanting video. If you're new here, welcome. Make sure you like, share, and also turn on your notification for more incoming videos. Join us today on a swift adventure as we take a look at the top 10 biggest economies in Africa. Let's go. Number 10. Tanzania. In 2017, according to the IMF, Tanzania's GDP was about 52 million US dollars. Half of the country's workforce is employed in the agriculture sector, while the rest is divided among mining, manufacturing, food processing, and telecommunications. Also, the heavy reliance on agriculture makes Tanzania vulnerable to environmental shocks and commodity pricing instability. The main exports are oil and petroleum products, rice, cotton, livestock, granules, Arabic gum, and sugar are other sources of income. With all this, the country is able to keep its gross domestic product high. Number 5. Angola. The country is still recovering from a 27-year-long civil war that began immediately after becoming independent from Portugal in 1975, before finally coming to an end in 2002. But the country's economy picked up considerably in the last years following the war and is today considered as one of the fastest growing in the world. Despite recent struggles in the global oil market, they're still pushing through, and their gross domestic product is going to be high. As a result, the country's development improves. Number 4. Algeria. Algeria, the continent's largest country, is located in the north and ranks 4th on the list of the wealthiest countries in Africa. With a significant economy and available infrastructure, as well as GDP of more than $170 billion, the country has achieved a notable achievement of reducing poverty by 20% in the last 20 years. Crude oil reserves are abundant in this developing Saharan country, and the economy is heavily reliant on them. So much of that hydrocarbons such as oil and natural gases account for nearly 70% of the country's income. The recent discovery of more crude oils have boosted this rapidly growing industry country. Agriculture and industrial countries are two other sectors that contribute to Algerian economy. Other sectors that make up Algerian economy include agriculture, industrial work, commercial services, and construction. The country is also one of the largest suppliers of ammonia in Africa. It is worth noting, however, that the recent depression and volatility in oil prices have resulted in a country's currency reserve declining. In addition, political uncertainty and scandals in hydrocarbon industry cause a dip in Algeria's economic growth. Number 3. Egypt. This ancient land in northern Africa has held the spot as the richest country in Africa for many years. However, the economy suffered several and foreign exchange reserve tumbled following the 2011 revolution during the Arab uprising. With the most recent GDP of over $300 billion, Egypt now holds the 3rd spot on this rich list. Economic activities have improved and stabilized over the last decade, experiencing positive economic growth. The government recently concluded an economic forum program alongside the IMF, aimed at reforming and bolstering the economy. Real GDP growth in 2019 was 5.6%, up from 5.3% in 2018. The country has also seen unemployment levels fall, an improvement in the foreign economy, higher export of goods and services, and a boosted tourism sector, all contributing to its development. The leading factor of Egyptian's economy include petroleum and natural gas. Number 2. South Africa. The southernmost country in Africa is another significant player on the economy as the 2nd richest African country. With a high developed economy, advancing infrastructure, and a GDP of over $350 billion, the country is considered as one of the fastest developing countries in the world. Often referred to as the Rainbow Nation, South Africa is one of the only countries on the list that is not reliant on a single source of revenue. The country has a good mix of mining, manufacturing, financial services, and tourism. It is also abundant in natural resources and raw material exports like gold, diamonds, platinum, coal, and iron ore. It is one of the world's largest exporters of commodities, particularly gold and platinum. The country is world-renowned as major tourist destinations and places a lot of emphasis on tourism as part of its economy. Number 1. Nigeria. This West African country with a population of over 200 million citizens makes up an essential part of Africa's economy. With a GDP of just under $450 billion, Nigeria holds the position of the richest country in Africa. The sizable GDP is mainly driven by finance, transport, infrastructure, and tourism, and the abundance of crude oil. According to OPEC, the country produces approximately 1.6 billion barrels of crude oil per day making it Africa's largest crude oil exporter. This petroleum export makes up 10% of the total GDP and over 80% of the export sector's revenue. In addition to petroleum, Nigeria has an abundance of raw materials and natural resources, contributing to regional wealth. These include coal, limestone, zinc, lead, tin, natural gas, and iron ore. There is also significant fertile land for agriculture, which is responsible for over 20% of the GDP, producing cocoa and rubber. Nigeria's large population also helped propel the country of the largest consumer retailer in Africa. And the country's digital savvy resident has contributed to the country's rapidly growing tech sector. According to the World Bank, Nigeria's GDP grew 7% year-on-year between 2000 and 2014. Here we are at the end of the video. Hoping you have learned something new. Why not give us a thumbs up by hitting the like button, or even better, sharing, subscribing, and turning on your notification for more upcoming videos. Thanks for watching and stay tuned for more informative videos.